Hello, Americans. The young Turks, they're speaking about things that the agencies don't want to speak about, but they're using the reporting of others and the reporting of reporting. And agencies using the right to lie since founding, using it where they don't have the right to lie. The way the breaching method showed them how they have to, because it showed them how to read the law. It showed them how to be the names of the people of the sciences and or the counters to them. How many Americans have tried to point out all the ways that we could discern the sciences are fake, integrity with black people's whites of eyes, revelations, relativity. Many of us know this. See, there are voices that will jump in passionately. People have jobs and systems through systems tactical ulterior from the Constitution's unabridged. Our founders left this and others declassified for us to understand clear. But we are preventing free speech. You guys are changing and faking with other and hiding and obfuscating what others say and say. The only three branches of government. Countries A through Z, there's certain type of victim slash hyper victim where they defend themselves and they try to overcome it. They self-value collusion slash S. With this being and having been at all locations slash S. Everywhere the human species body is. Equality slash qualities and aspects slash aspects in nature slash natures of criminal insidiousness generated by being and having been systems and self-valued roles that are valued as a human fact nature breaching method. There are things that about the suburbs that if anyone debates it, that the suburbs are tactically denatured to cause negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, and the only means to overcome them or to try to get easements from them or to heal from it is to adapt to it, is to self-value roles with the only means to cause positives more and more as if people are going to make criminal insidiousness natures of positives out of negatives. Now, nature wants us to discern the difference between criminal insidious natures of positive, criminal insidious natures of peace, criminal insidious natures of motivations, with convictions by motivation and with blame or guilt, leaving out the breaching method. Because the breaching method is replaced right from the communications of James Madison, the only founder we know the name of, who was then a president slash chief also, and then he still didn't have free speech. They left us to be communicated for themselves, rather than have the experts use their expertise to defend that. The ones who even realize it, they use self-value, sensing for the high performing at countries A through Z. This is why the suburbs look alike in America and Russia and Ukraine, even though there was slavery entrenched before America's founders were born, and there were rules with it north and south as a torture, extortion, slavery method. And that was the design of the suburbs. That's the basic design. There were houses built before our founders were born that are still standing. They still have replaced what our founders had to leave declassified for us to get up front. Wasn't about a T-tax. See, this breaching method directed people only capable of blaming things like a T-tax, because that replaced what James Madison communicated about what caused the American Revolution, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitutional Convention, his plan to counter-extort people No one was allowed to be a nature of unity or a nature of independence for all kinds of reasons at the same exact time. A nature of one necessary to make the words necessary to teach, let alone to defend the republic for which we stand. A bridge since founding, pounding drums, because all Native Americans at the time were our founders, and all Native Americans now are our founders' kin. But not all Native Americans knew about James Madison's plan because it was the only hope. No one had free speech, and everyone had to pretend other to an extent. And that was measured and maintained the outcome /S. Otherwise, that body was sensed through their own, and no one even realizing they were sensing for the hyperforeign. Even when they sensing for other bodies involved, not just with trials branches of government, but at the same time, the difference of their overt criminal enterprises, private ones, criminally foreign influence natures / hyper-criminally foreign influence natures of industries involved with the breaching method, worse than war crimes. It's just your mind, because they can't discern that properly either. They want to use their knowledge of the histories, of the sciences, in ways that they have to defend offensively. They can't afford what little kids could discern with short words proper. The names of the people, the sciences, certain type of victim / hyper victim from off the campuses, though. It's not just a natural outcome. It's only natural for criminal insidiousness nature / hyper criminal insidiousness nature. I'm not even a lawyer, but for example, relative to how even those tactics, like even slavery, something so, replacing what nature communicates with black and white, when nature is not communicating about criminal insidiousness nature. Because the second we change what nature communicates about black and white, it demonstrates criminal insidiousness nature and other. It demonstrates when we use systems other than its own. It demonstrates when the Constitution has abridgments. This is Constitution of the human species body, of individual bodies system, generated by that which is generating totally different individual species bodies of individual bodies, all group differences. It generates or demonstrates we're using abridged systems. So please, young Turks, if you hear this, I want to ask you here, because I'm not asking comment, I can't type anymore. They have to lie about every post I made. That's what's actually recorded. Campus is filmed 24/7. They're changing, faking, hiding, and obfuscating what's actually recorded there. And I never saw Eric Burgess on Central Connecticut State University's campus in my life. He implied that he was influenced to pretend other. I found out later, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and other a whole bunch of other countries involved with the World Trade Center attack, and with the narratives in the news. There are it's illegal to make things up, like a Kelly Kazmarek, with people who made me know how to say her name, and people involved with the all along Route 175, planting evidences through time, acting so others could take pictures, as people involved with all sides of criminal and civil cases, interstates and foreign, where they put the same sequence shift, same self-value, predicate acts, methods, acts, collusions too, with other names and things. Even with cases where they're not involved, overt criminal enterprises and private ones involved, and the industry's value as such, and wars, originally and still, even the Civil War, used to measure and maintain self-value collusion /S, replacing what our founders left declassified about what really caused the Civil War. self-value. Otherwise, that body is sensed, including if that body is a majority of people, including if it is everybody, black pupils. Yeah, who disbelieves. So WFSB Channel 3 News is involved with extortion with and planting fake conversations with me, also with other multiple police departments in the same house slash S, involved with multiple child abusers, leaders of kids years apart, First Forest, and more involved then and now. A bunch of people with Hartford Hospital's Institute of Living and with the corrections offices in the prisons with a whole bunch of foreign and domestic medical families, ones with badges, foreign and domestic military, criminally foreign influence uses of databases, tactically delusions rock, too, right? And their rules and collusion slash S too, with replacing James Madison's plan, where it is the only correct answer for many questions with the American Revolution, with American history, with the extortion of George Washington, and with the plan he was using of James Madison and the leverage of the plural founders behind him. Even if we don't know if it was for certain if it was Native Americans, they definitely helped that. That plan wouldn't have worked if Native Americans weren't a natural resistance. We are systems now, tactical ulterior from the hypernative one. That is the human species body of individual bodies, all group differences generated by the hypernative. That shows us to value how they're incompatible and simultaneously inseparable, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously, president slash chief. And regardless of what the narrative is by what caused that, James Madison's plan caused that too. Ugh. No way.